My name is Anita Cole, and I am the curator of the Louisiana State Exhibit Museum. Today is May 24th, 2023, and we are talking to Mr. Erwin Sanchez Flores, and he is going to tell us some information about his father. Erwin?
My father was Andres Sanchez Flores, and this is one of his paintings. It is a painting that is important because of the story that it tells. There is a person over there that has an injured leg. Now, he is a diplomatic courier, and the reason we know he's a diplomatic carrier is because of the type of pouch which is in his hand. So he has been injured, and then just past his leg, there's a little stand with the instruments, surgical instruments made out of obsidian, which the Caddo Indian doctors would work with. There is this next figure. He is the doctor that is mixing the medicines that are going to be used, hopefully to cure the courier's injuries. This one is an apprentice doctor who is fanning to maintain the proper temperature of the mixture of herbs, earths, or whatever they were using to make the medicine. Then we have a figure over here that is holding a brush. He is a scribe and is writing onto a deer skin, a codice, what herbs, what medicines are being used, and how they are to be applied to the leg of the courier, and the potion that he is going to drink. So this shows the importance, and it shows that the Caddo Indians did have written records. The little hut over there is typical of the type of dwelling that the Caddo Indians used. In the center, you see an earthen pot. If you look among the Caddo artifacts that are behind this wall, you will see a very similar pot to that. Those were specially built pots that are slightly porous to let water evaporate. The evaporation of that water cooled the water inside of the pot. Hanging on the far side is a little kind of S-shaped thing. That is a gourd that was used to dip the water out of the cooler. And this is just one of Andres's works.
Can you tell us about your father's origins? Were you born in Mexico?
I was born in Mexico, in the state of Jalisco, north of Guadalajara, in 1938, November of 1938. And then my father returned to Mexico City to work back in the art field, which is what he really liked. He worked in the art field as a teacher of methods of doing things, as a professor of the chemistry of art materials. He was named the National Restorer for all of the art in public buildings of Mexico, including the restoration of the murals in the pyramids of Mexico in San Juan del Teotihuacan.
And he also taught at the National Academy in Mexico that they established in the 1930s. Is that correct?
That is correct. He was the director of the dean of plastic materials. He taught not only methods but he also taught his students how to gather, where to find the pigments that were going to be necessary for them to do their work. Where to find ochre, for instance, how to grind it so it can be a pigment that can be used mixed with oil to do oil paintings, or mixed with water to work in frescoes. There's a big difference in the grinding for those two uses. Fresco must be very, very fine. It has to be smoother than talcum powder.
That's because it goes directly onto the surface.
A wet wall, a wet plaster. And if you scratch the surface of that plaster, you ruin that day's work. So he would teach those. And up until just recently, into the 2020s, his students in Mexico, in interviews that have been done, still speak of them using these materials and preparing them as they were taught by Andres Sanchez Flores.
Do you remember him working on this particular mural?
Yes, I do. He, at this particular time in his life, he was producing artwork at an incredible pace. He probably painted, I don't know, several hundred square yards in a couple of years.
And you moved to Shreveport from Mexico City in what year was that?
My father came in 1953. We came in 1952. When I say we, it was my mother, sister, and I. And we came to Shreveport because my mother had a sister that lived here. So we came to visit, and then we stayed. So Dad came in 53 to join the family.
And started this wonderful work that is currently on exhibit at the museum, and hopefully we'll be seeing some more of it in later times. Thank you very much, Erwin. We appreciate it.
You're welcome.